Today we're going to talk about what animal I think is the best for beginner homesteaders to start with. We'll be talking about evaluating your resources, risk management, experience and safety, and how raising this animal will help you be better prepared to add in your next ones. Before we get started on today's topic, I want to read a review titled Great Practical Tips. Loved the simple step-by-step details, so practical. Millie lays it all out for you in a tactical way and erases the overwhelm. Looking forward to learning more. If you'd like to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the ratings and reviews, click on the purple words, write a review, then give me stars and tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you, and you might just hear me share your review on the podcast. Hey friends, welcome to the Get Goat-Wise podcast. I'm Millie Bradshaw, animal scientist, cattle girl turned goat rancher, co-owner of Dry Creek Livestock, and simple living enthusiast. Here we'll talk about raising goats, chickens, and other homestead livestock, how to create sustainable animal management systems that actually work, and a bit of off-grid life with kids and livestock. If you're ready to take control of your food supply, raise livestock with confidence, and provide your family with the most nourishing meat, eggs, and dairy available, you're in the right place. Kick off your muck boots, pour a cup of coffee, and let's talk livestock. When you first get started with livestock, you want to get all the animals right now. You've got that land, you're ready to go. I know. Self-sufficiency, right? Of course you want to get there fast, but I promise you that when you're learning how to raise livestock, slower is faster. If you've listened to my other episodes, you'll know that I strongly recommend getting one type of animal at a time and getting a lot of experience with that before you add more. So, how do you decide what to start with? First, let's look at resources. We want to pick something with a low resource requirement. As we look at what you have available as far as land and space, we want to pick something that's not going to take up very much. That way you can go ahead and get started in a smaller area, even if you still live in town, and without having to do massive perimeter fence to keep something in. The next thing to consider in resources would be facilities and shelter. What does this animal require? Again, something with a low requirement, small shelter, easy facilities. And finally in resources, time. How much time is it going to take you on a daily or weekly basis to care for these animals? The next thing we want to look at is financial risk. If something major happened and you lost your entire investment, would that be financially devastating? Pick something with a low financial risk. You're going to be learning about all sorts of things, predators, disease. For example, if you decide to start with a beef calf and you invest thousands of dollars and well over a year to get it to the point of filling your freezer, what happens if it dies somewhere along the way? That's a big investment to lose, right? Can you easily recover from that? Truth is, if you have livestock, you will have dead stock. I'm not saying this to be negative, but it's reality. Not every animal will survive and thrive. And I think if you're aware of that reality, you'll be better prepared to deal with it when it happens. Sometimes it could have been prevented, and sometimes not. So we learn from it and carry on. Those experiences will equip you with the knowledge to prevent the problem or treat animals if it happens again. Often, the greatest joys in life come from the hardest things, and that's why so many ranchers and homesteaders live their lives surrounded by life, and with that life comes death sometimes. The next thing to consider is experience and safety. Especially for a beginner without a lot of hands-on animal experience, you want to start with an animal that's going to give you experience and also not hurt you while you're learning how to care for them. So my pick is chickens, specifically laying hens or meat birds. And if you go with laying hens, I'm going to say no roosters, okay? So here are some things you'll learn from raising chickens. First of all, you will hone in on your animal observation skills. You're going to be watching these chickens and you'll be seeing what they're doing. You'll know how they act when they're healthy, and you'll also learn how they act when they're not healthy. So then you'll be able to address those issues. You'll have time to research as you see, like, maybe that chicken's not looking so great. What could be going on? You're going to learn how to look into problems and deal with them before they become a really big problem. Also, chicken health issues, for the most part, if you've got them in a good situation, are pretty minimal. If you get your birds from a reputable breeder, you're really going to get a lot of opportunity to watch healthy animals and what they do. And that will help you in your animal observation skills with future animals. With all animals, there's a certain level of health maintenance that needs to be done. And with chickens, it's pretty low, so this makes it a great place to start learning. You may need to clip some nails or beaks, or maybe even clip their wings if you choose to do that. But this will give you some experience in handling animals and how to do those sorts of things. You'll also learn about housing requirements, how much space per animal, how much ventilation do they need, and how much protection do they truly need. So you'll be testing out your predator situation with a low-risk animal. You'll also learn about feed and water, and especially about winter feeding if you do laying hens, because water in the winter can be really challenging, and it's a great thing to test out with an animal that doesn't require gallons and gallons of water before you go through a big winter with animals that do. Chickens can play a lot of roles on the homestead, and this is a great place to start learning about homestead systems. Chickens can be pest managers on your property. They can eat bugs and larvae and actually reduce a parasite load risk in other animals later on. Chickens can be great contributors to the garden and your land. If you're going to raise meat birds, you can put them in chicken tractors, which will protect them from predators, and you can move them every day onto a fresh plot of ground. They will fertilize the ground that they're on, and the next day you move them onto a new piece. With the laying hens, you can clean the coop and compost that manure, and by the next spring, it will be really great for your garden. You can also use those hens directly in the garden. This is usually best done in the fall because their manure is hot and it does need to sit for a while. But those chickens will scratch around and clean up your garden and drop the fertilizer for next year. Chickens are also great recyclers, so they can recycle kitchen scraps and garden waste and all sorts of things that otherwise would just be garbage. So utilize your chickens in systems in the best way you can, and then when you add other animals to your homestead, you'll start to understand how the systems really fit so wonderfully together. Another benefit of chickens is the quick feedback. It only takes weeks to get a final meat product in your freezer if you're raising meat birds. Truly, Cornish cross birds are ready in 8 to 10 weeks, and heritage type birds are ready in about 15 to 18 weeks. With your laying hens, it's only going to be months to get your first eggs. You'll also learn food handling skills, how to safely and effectively prepare and store eggs and or meat from your animals. If you choose to do your own butchering, you'll learn some really valuable skills on a small scale that will apply to larger animals later on if you choose to do it yourself. Maybe the most important thing you'll learn from raising chickens is how to do research. For example, do you even want or need to do things like clipping nails, beaks, or wing feathers? Is it necessary or just trendy? What breeds do you want to get? How are you going to choose them? Are you looking for cold-tolerant or heat-tolerant animals? Another skill you'll learn is how to validate or invalidate advice you get online. Well-meaning folks that maybe just don't have the experience to be giving the advice they're giving are out there. A lot of people just repeat things they've heard but not done themselves. You need to figure out how to tell if someone is giving you good advice or bad advice. This validation process will help you learn how to find the resources and people you can trust. To summarize, I think chickens are a great first homestead animal because of the low inputs, low financial risk, safety, short time from beginning to end product, and the foundational skills you'll learn that will help you with your next animals. Hey there! Thanks for listening today. I'm so glad you're here. If this episode helped you or encouraged you in some way, share the link with your homesteading friends. And if you really want to help me out, click on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or email, linked in the show notes. And meet me back here soon for more Get Goat Wise.